Welcome to the road to tranquility, a journey to inner peace where we explore ancient wisdom to find grounding in the chaos of modern life. This space is dedicated to those over 40 who are beginning to seek deeper meaning, clarity, and calm in a world that rarely slows down. If you find what we share valuable, please like this video and subscribe to our channel. Together, we will continue this journey of exploring Buddhist teachings, not just to understand them, but to live them with mindfulness, presence, and peace every day. Taurus. As June begins, the earth beneath your feet carries a message. Not loud, not obvious, but present, like the tremble in the ground before a shift begins. You may not feel it at first. You may think it's just another day. But something is unfolding. A silent tide of change. Designed not to break you, but to free you from the weight you no longer realize you carry. June 6th and 8th are not ordinary days. They are cosmic hinges. Dates on which your entire path may pivot. Subtly but permanently, these are not external events you can prepare for in the traditional sense. These are internal awakenings, the kind of moments that arrive like a whisper, but leave like a thunderclap if ignored. You are a child of Earth, steady, loyal, practical, but those very qualities, your greatest gifts, can become your quiet prison when left unexamined. What once grounded you may now be holding you in place. What once kept you safe may now be stifling your breath. And the universe is offering a moment of decision. Evolve or remain. This is not a demand for chaos. This is not a call to abandon everything you've built. It is, instead, a challenge to see clearly which parts of your life are truly rooted and which are simply buried. June's astrology brings pressure between belief, logic, and value. Jupiter challenges Mercury. Venus forms tense angles. These forces create invisible tension, not just in the stars, but in your mind and heart. You may feel pulled in multiple directions. You may feel uncertain. That is not weakness. That is awareness trying to wake you up. In this moment, you may cling harder to routines, people, or ideas that feel familiar. But ask yourself honestly, are you holding on because it's truly right for you, or because you're afraid of not knowing what comes next? Security, Taurus, is sacred to you. But not all that feels secure is actually safe. Not all that feels solid is built to last. Sometimes, the illusion of stability is more dangerous than open uncertainty, because it keeps you still, even when your spirit is crying for motion. Somewhere inside, you've known for months, maybe even years, that something must change. A job that drains you. A relationship that no longer reflects your essence. An identity that was once authentic, but has now become a mask. And yet, you've stayed. You've endured. You've told yourself, this is fine. I can make it work. But can you feel the weight of those words? I can make it work is not the same as, this is right for me. The universe does not operate on comfort. It moves through alignment. And June 6th and 8th are alignment checkpoints. You will be shown, not punished, but shown, what you must release if you wish to grow. And the longer you ignore the signs, the louder they become. Think of the tree, tall and proud, rooted in soil it has outgrown. It can no longer stretch, no longer drink fully from the earth. Its branches may look healthy, but its roots are dry. That is the state of a soul that refuses to adapt. And Taurus, you are too powerful to stay small. There is a karmic lesson at play, not one of guilt or blame, but of reflection. Karma, in its truest sense, is not about punishment, it's about repeated choices. The universe simply asks, will you choose differently this time? The mistake that could cost you everything is not a grand, dramatic failure. It is something far quieter, the refusal to move when your spirit says move. The decision to stay when everything inside you says go. The belief that your current version of life is all you deserve. If this feels uncomfortable, that's okay. Growth always begins where comfort ends. The tension you feel is not a warning of danger, it's an invitation to awaken. Now, look around your life, not with fear, but with honesty. What have you been pretending is working? What have you convinced yourself is permanent, simply because the alternative requires change? Where have you chosen silence instead of speaking your truth? Where have you chosen routine over purpose? These are the questions the stars will ask you in June. And your answers will not just shape this month, they will shape your next chapter. But here's the miracle. You don't have to know exactly where you're going. You only need the courage to not remain where you've outgrown. The energy of June does not demand you tear everything down. It asks for awareness. It calls for presence. It asks you to take one brave step, just one, away from what no longer resonates. Maybe that step is a boundary. Maybe it's a conversation you've been avoiding. Maybe it's finally admitting to yourself that you're meant for more. And once you take that step, the path ahead begins to reveal itself. If you wait for absolute certainty, you will remain where you are. Because certainty doesn't come before action. It comes after alignment. June 6th and 8th are your portals. Walk through them, not with fear, but with sacred curiosity. Let go of the idea that you must have all the answers now. You don't, and you're not meant to. You are meant to listen, to feel, and to choose with wisdom, not with attachment. Write down what no longer fits. Speak out loud what you wish you had the courage to admit. Let your soul take up space again. And if grief comes with that, let it. Grieve the life you thought you were supposed to live. Grieve the identity you no longer need. Grieve the comfort that once served you, but not forever. Because what waits for you is something more honest, more alive, more aligned, not more chaotic, not more risky, just more real. You do not have to become someone new overnight, but you do have to become someone honest. And that begins by telling the truth, first to yourself, then to the world. The truth that you are ready. Ready to grow. Ready to feel again. Ready to remember who you were before fear made you small. This is your turning point. The wheel of karma is not a threat, it is a compass. And you hold it in your hands now. If you listen, if you pause long enough to hear your spirit whisper, if you dare to trust what you've been feeling in your bones all along, then the next chapter won't be a repeat of the last. It will be a rebirth. And this time, you won't just survive, you'll rise. Taurus, as the light shifts and the days edge closer to June 6th and 8th, the sky itself begins to rearrange. What seems invisible to the eye moves with powerful purpose. And you, whether you realize it or not, are standing at a cosmic intersection, a karmic turning point not just written in the stars, but carved into the very soul of your journey. On June 6th, Jupiter, the planet of expansion, wisdom, and higher truth, finds itself at odds with Mercury, the messenger of logic, analysis, and thought. This is not just an astrological event. This is a mirror, a confrontation between your inner beliefs and your mental habits. You may feel pulled between what you know and what you believe, between intellect and intuition, between the safe and the sacred. You may begin to question your own convictions. You might feel confusion rising, not because you're lost, but because two truths are colliding. The truth that has kept you steady, and the deeper truth that wants to lead you forward. Then, on June 8th, Venus, your ruling planet, the keeper of your values, desires, and sense of beauty, forms a square, not a soft embrace, but a tense challenge. Venus asks, what are you clinging to because it looks good, but feels empty? Where in your life have you chosen comfort over connection? Where have you confused possession for peace? This square won't be subtle. It may show up through a conversation, a decision, or an unexpected emotion. It might appear in a moment of jealousy, a flash of longing, a sudden regret, or even an urge to let go of something that once felt essential. Do not dismiss it. These are not mood swings. These are messages. Together, these cosmic movements create what astrologers call a karmic knot, a moment where your past choices, unconscious beliefs, and current values become entangled. And Taurus, this knot is asking to be unraveled. But it can't be forced. It must be softened, not with willpower, but with willingness. This is where your strength must evolve. You are steady, yes. You are reliable, yes. But now, your task is to become receptive, not passive, receptive. The energy around June 6th and 8th calls for stillness, not stagnation, reflection, not reaction. It's about asking yourself, without ego, without judgment, am I building my life on truth or tradition? Am I honoring my soul's growth, or am I defending an outdated version of myself? You might think the danger is in making the wrong move, but truly, the danger is in making no move at all. When Mercury and Jupiter clash, it's easy to talk yourself into paralysis, to overthink, to justify staying, to rationalize a situation that deep down, you've outgrown. But wisdom is not the same as cleverness. And real intelligence, the kind that guides your destiny, often sounds more like silence than analysis. This is a time to be brutally honest with yourself. What are you defending that no longer serves you? What are you investing in that does not invest in you? What identity have you wrapped yourself in? Not because it fits, but because it's familiar? And can you, for just a moment, loosen your grip? Just long enough to let something else in? That's all the universe asks right now. Not that you burn bridges. Not that you abandon your entire life. Just that you consider the possibility that what once felt like solid ground may now be sacred dust, meant to feed the soil of your becoming. Let's be clear. Not every attachment is wrong. Not every structure must fall. But if something is being challenged now, it's not by accident. These dates are pressure points. Like acupuncture for the soul. They reveal what needs healing, not through drama, but through discomfort. And how you respond determines everything. If you resist the lesson, you may find yourself circling back to this same choice again, in different forms, with different faces. That's how karma works. It repeats until we recognize the pattern, until we say, no more. But if you listen, if you pause, reflect, and soften, something beautiful begins to happen. Space opens, insight returns, courage arrives. Suddenly, that decision you feared becomes a door. That grief becomes a release. That silence becomes peace. So how do you work with this energy practically? How do you move through this time not with fear, but with reverence? You begin by creating a personal ritual of release. Start small. On the night of June 5th, write down 3 things that no longer align with who you are becoming. These could be beliefs, roles, relationships, fears. Write them without editing. Then fold the paper gently and place it under a stone or a small plant, a symbol of your earth energy. Let the soil hold your sorrow. Let nature take what you no longer need. On the morning of June 6th, rise early, in silence, without reaching for your phone. Sit for 5 minutes facing east. Breathe deeply. With each inhale, say in your mind, I receive truth. With each exhale, I release illusion. Repeat until your mind slows. Then, ask yourself, what does my soul need more than my ego? Do not force an answer. It will come, not as a voice, but as a knowing. And when June 8th arrives, light a white candle, even for just a few moments. Not for ceremony's sake, but as a signal, a light to honor your own inner flame. A reminder that even when all else falls away, you carry your own source of guidance within. Let this light speak to the parts of you that doubt. Let it illuminate the path not yet taken. And when it flickers, do not fear. Fire bends before it strengthens. Just like you, this is not a time to prove anything to anyone. It is a time to meet yourself again, at a deeper, quieter level, beneath your titles, beneath your plans, beneath your expectations. There is a deeper truth, a deeper Taurus, waiting to rise. Not a version that rejects all structure, but one that chooses which structures still serve the soul. You are not here to repeat your past. You are here to refine it. You are not here to chase validation. You are here to embody value. And you are not here to force growth. You are here to allow it. Taurus, if June feels heavy, know that it is the weight of a door preparing to open. You don't have to push it. You only have to stop leaning against it. Let go of resistance. Let go of rigidity. Let go of the belief that you must hold everything together, even as it breaks you. Let things fall if they must. Because what remains, what endures, is always the part of you that was true from the beginning. And from there, everything new can grow. The door is open now, Taurus, not because someone forced it, but because you've stopped resisting your own evolution. You've paused long enough to notice the discomfort. You've breathed deep enough to face the truth. And now, Your healing begins, not in dramatic action, but in sacred, intentional redirection. June doesn't just mark a cosmic warning. It marks a karmic window, a season of recalibration, a moment where the universe doesn't ask you to prove anything, but invites you to release what you never truly needed to carry. Think about it. How long have you defined yourself by what you've held together? The steady job, the long-standing relationship, the family role, the silent expectations, the patterns that kept you secure but slowly dimmed your inner light? Now is the time to ask, were those things ever really you? Or were they just the outer expression of an inner fear? The fear that if you stopped being the reliable one, the whole world would fall apart? Here's the truth. It won't. But something will fall. The illusion that you have to hold everything still just to feel safe. That illusion is crumbling now. And it's a gift. Because what remains, when illusion falls away, is your soul. And the soul of Taurus is wise, rooted, ancient, but also deeply renewable. Your karmic lesson for June is not about walking away from everything. It's about walking toward what's real. And to do that, you must get honest about what is false. Where have you been mistaking loyalty for alignment? Where have you been mistaking patience for permission? Where have you waited too long for something to change, when the real change was always waiting inside of you? This month, that shift begins, not with a grand leap, but with a simple, quiet vow. I will no longer betray my soul for the sake of external peace. Because, Taurus, real peace doesn't require you to shrink. It doesn't ask you to stay silent. It doesn't demand you stay in jobs, roles, or identities that exhaust your inner fire. Real peace feels like this: waking up and knowing you are aligned. Even if others don't understand, that's the new path ahead. The higher octave of Taurus. Still grounded, but not trapped. Still steady, but no longer stuck. Still loyal, but only to what is true. To walk this path, you must begin releasing the karma you've inherited through repetition. This means reflecting not only on your choices, but also on the unconscious habits passed down to you. The ways you've learned to equate love with control, success with sacrifice, security with staying still. But staying still is not the same as being present. And now, the universe is asking you to be present with your own evolution. This is not a test of your endurance. It's a test of your flexibility. Flexibility does not mean abandoning your roots. It means trusting that your roots are strong enough to support new growth. So what does healing actually look like now? It looks like giving yourself permission to change your mind. About a person, about a job, about an idea you once believed defined you. It looks like setting boundaries not out of anger, but out of deep, self-honoring clarity. It looks like choosing rest, not because you're lazy, but because your spirit needs time to catch up to the speed of your transformation. It looks like feeling grief when old identities fade, but letting that grief wash over you, knowing it is not the end, but a release. And it looks like choosing joy again, not the performative joy others expect, but the quiet joy that bubbles up when you finally say, "This is who I am now." And that is enough. Astrologically, the energies of the second half of June bring opportunity, but only to those who are clear. Clarity is your superpower now. Around the solstice on June 21st, the Sun moves into Cancer, forming a harmonious sextile to your Taurus energy. This is your chance to restore emotional alignment, especially in your home life, your family patterns, and the ways you nurture yourself. Don't underestimate how important this is. Many Tauruses carry the weight of others' emotions. You've been the emotional vault, the anchor, the strong one. But now, you must be strong for yourself. Around June 23rd, as Mars activates your subconscious sector, you may feel sudden impulses, dreams, or intuitive nudges. Don't ignore them. These are not distractions. They are insights. Action is coming, but it must be guided by spirit, not fear. The final days of June bring Venus into a more supportive angle. And this is your green light to realign with pleasure, to rediscover what makes you feel alive, and to gently step into the new season of your soul. What does this mean practically? It means you don't need to rush. It means you don't need to force clarity where there is none. It means that sometimes, choosing peace means choosing change. And most importantly, it means your healing journey is not about becoming someone new. It's about returning to who you were before you were told you had to be someone else. So Taurus, as you step forward into the remaining weeks of June, take this mantra with you. I choose aligned strength. I trust in flexible power. I honor the soul over the surface. Repeat it, write it, whisper it to yourself when old fears rise. And remember, every choice you make from a place of clarity plants a seed in the field of your future. You may not see it sprout today, but soon, the harvest will come, a harvest of truth, of inner peace, of real, sustainable abundance, the kind that cannot be taken because it is rooted in who you are, not what you have. So keep walking, Taurus. Not backward, not around in circles, but forward, with your heart open and your spirit ready. You are not behind. You are not late. You are exactly where you need to be, standing in the sacred now. Taurus, you've stepped through the gate, not the kind built of stone or wood, but the kind carved through time, choices, and quiet inner revolutions. You've crossed from unconscious survival into conscious direction. And now, it's time to deepen the roots of your rebirth. Growth is not just a decision, it's a practice. You've made space by releasing the outdated. Now it's time to rebuild, slowly and deliberately, from the ground of your truth. But before you rush into what's next, there's one more sacred act waiting for you. Not movement, not progress, but listening. Listening to the part of you that never stopped believing. The younger version of you, not in years, but in essence, who remembers what it felt like to dream without fear. Who knew what joy was without needing a reason. Who moved toward love without overthinking it. That voice hasn't died. It's just been buried under years of responsibility, judgment, and roles you were never meant to carry alone. Now is the time to reconnect to your inner child. This is not about regression. This is about reclamation. When the adult self and the inner child work together, healing becomes holistic, grounded, unshakable. So here's your next step. Taurus, not outward, but inward, each morning for the next 7 days. Take 5 minutes to close your eyes and ask your younger self one question. What did I stop believing was possible? Just to feel safe? You may hear an answer. You may feel nothing at all. That's okay. Keep asking. Because this question is a key, a sacred unlocking, and eventually, your heart will remember what it once protected too fiercely to speak aloud. From this place, real clarity emerges, not because you've thought through every angle, but because you've felt your way back to your essence. That's what July and the rest of this season demand from you. Not perfect plans, but aligned presence. This is the truth of grounded spiritual evolution. It's not about constantly striving. It's about learning to respond from a deeper place of knowing. Let's anchor this wisdom now, not in ideas, but in daily practice. Here are 3 sacred self-inquiry prompts to revisit often in the weeks ahead. Speak them, write them, reflect on them in stillness. Am I building my life on what matters most? Or what's most familiar? Familiarity feels safe, but safety without alignment becomes stagnation. This question invites you to recheck your foundation. Is your current path truly you? Or just something you've gotten good at surviving? What version of me am I still protecting? And does it need protection or permission? Sometimes we hold back because we're trying to protect a former self, the one who once experienced betrayal, disappointment, or failure. But now, that version of you doesn't need a shield. They need a voice. They need freedom. Give it to them. Where in my life is silence hiding a truth that's ready to be spoken? Silence can be healing, but also a hiding place. Have you avoided saying something? Not because it wasn't time, but because it was time and you were afraid? This question reveals the conversations you're finally ready to have with others or yourself. These are not surface-level reflections. These are soul excavations, and they are exactly what the energy of July supports. As July opens, the Cancer Sun continues to harmonize with your Taurus nature, offering gentle healing through emotional honesty, home, and sacred connection. You'll feel a deeper urge to create environments, both physical and relational, that support your new rhythm. This is your chance to design your life, not just maintain it. Around mid-July, as the new moon in Cancer arrives, a doorway opens for you to make intentional commitments. Not impulsive ones, but steady, aligned steps toward the life that reflects your truth. This is when the new habits you've been practicing begin to take root. It's when people may notice the change in you, not because you've made noise, but because your energy speaks differently now. There's less tension in your body, more presence in your voice, more discernment in your yes, and power in your no. And as Leo season begins near the end of July, your voice returns to the spotlight, not for ego, not for applause, but to own your story. You begin speaking from a place of integrated clarity. You start sharing what you've learned. And more importantly, you live it. In your choices, your schedule, your relationships, your boundaries. This is what karmic healing looks like in motion. Your past no longer deciding your future. Only your awareness does. Taurus, by now, you've probably noticed that this journey has not been about avoiding mistakes. It's been about becoming awake enough to recognize them before they repeat. And that is the definition of spiritual maturity. So if you feel tender right now, good. If you feel raw, perfect. That's the soul shedding layers of false protection. That's you, coming home. There's no rush to prove you've arrived. You're not late, you're not lost, you're becoming. And becoming is a sacred process. So breathe, return to your body, return to your truth. This is not the end of your journey. It's the integration. You are not here to stay small to be loved. You are here to expand so that love, true, grounded, aligned love, can finally find you where you truly are. And that, dear Taurus, is the foundation of everything real. So, Taurus, as we bring this journey to a close, take one more breath. Let it settle everything you've just uncovered. Let it root you back into your center. You've traveled far, not in miles, but in awareness. From fear to clarity, from stagnation to movement, from resistance to renewal. You've seen now that the karmic challenge of June 6th and 8th was never about punishment, but about awakening. About choosing evolution over illusion. About stepping out of comfort that confines and into a life that aligns. You've learned that one mistake, rooted in fear, can quietly redirect your destiny. But you've also learned that one conscious pause, one honest breath, can realign you with your highest path. You now understand that safety does not come from what is unchanging, but from your ability to adapt. That loyalty to yourself must come before loyalty to systems that suppress you. That healing begins when you stop asking the world for permission to evolve. This is the real gift of Taurus energy. Not just stability, but sustainable power. Not just patience, but wise, embodied action. The journey ahead doesn't require perfection. It asks only that you remain aware, that you choose, again and again, to listen, to respond, not react, to return, gently, to the truth of who you are now. Because this is not a one-time awakening. This is the start of a new chapter. A chapter where you write your life not based on what was, but on what is becoming. And remember, you are not walking this path alone. Here at the road to tranquility, this space is dedicated to your growth, your healing, and your sacred unfolding. If this message spoke to your soul, like this video to signal your alignment with change. Subscribe to stay connected with future insights designed to guide your evolution. Comment below with your intention for the season ahead. Even a simple, "I choose clarity," sends a powerful ripple to the universe. And share this message, because someone else out there is silently facing the same resistance. And your light might be the mirror they need. This is not the end, Taurus. It is a threshold. And on the other side is a life that feels like home, not because it's perfect, but because it's finally true. So walk forward now, not with fear, but with faith. The road ahead is waiting for you. And so are we, right here, on the road to tranquility.